alive by sharing the many stories that define the loving, caring, intelligent man we all knew. That's where we're going to start. So, first, a recognition of some of Karl's families. Family, just put your hand in the air and wave a little bit so everybody knows. Wife Teresa and her son Nick, and Teresa's grandchildren, Kaylee and Brindley. Are you guys? Yep. Put your hand in the air. Okay. All right. Brother Norris's wife Debbie, back in the corner. Karl's nephew Matt, big guy. Norris can't be here because he's been out to sea. He's a Navy guy, and you get what you get, you know, so you just have to deal with it. Brother Leaf and niece Emma, there they are. And Brother Soren's daughter, Karl's niece Dana, there she is. Now, Sister Jenny and husband Pat could not attend today. And with regrets, daughters Miranda and Olivia from Oregon are unable to attend. They are going to have a memorial out in Oregon at a later date. So, I think I got everybody. Did I get everybody? Okay. Acknowledgements. These are important to understand when you go through something like this, acknowledging things that have happened and people that have been helpful and so forth. So, I think the first one is going to go to special friends, the hosts today, Dee and Steve Emmerich. I think they need a round of applause. They have worked hard for some period of time with Teresa in planning all this and getting everything together and making food and so forth. They've been, Teresa wants to thank them, and probably already has on her own, but wants everybody to know that their friendship and support the last 12 years have been very special to Teresa and Karl. They were always there through family events, and especially this past year. Teresa is truly grateful that you were both in their lives. Thank you again. I promised myself I wouldn't cry, but sometimes it's not so easy. Kelly? Is Kelly here? Where are you, Kelly?
Right here.
Kelly. Which Kelly?
Oh, right there,
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Acknowledgement.
Okay, wow.
Kelly, for reaching out to Karl
Yeah.
towards the end. Your singing brought a smile to his face. His advice to you, Kelly, was to continue your singing journey. Very nice, very nice. Teresa and family would like to acknowledge those who traveled all the way to the UP to see Karl in his last days. Miranda, Leaf, Norris, Brian Rice, Kevin Badal, Kathy and Mike, Steve and Dee. It was a long ways up there, but we wanted to talk to Karl. Special thanks to Al Francie for his travels as well, and for anyone who's had to travel today to get here for this special occasion. Thank you for doing that. Special thanks to Karl's daughter Miranda. She made a brochure, which she didn't make a huge amount of, but it's very nice. It kind of shows Karl's life in pictures and words, and so it's something that we'll show you here in a little bit how you can check in on that. And if you wanted to add pictures or you wanted to add a story, you'll be able to do that. There's what's it called? A QR code? Is that right? QR? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not really. I'm an old timer. QRs don't mean much to me, but you know, it's one of those things. If you knew Karl as a teenager, then you knew him as an adult. He was thoughtful. He was fun, caring, loving, deep thinking, intelligent person throughout his life. Again, we hope that all of you will take the time in a few minutes to share your stories of Karl and things that you might have done. Maybe he made you a piece of furniture, or he fixed something for you. You could do all that. He was good.
And cook something for you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, the obituary. I'm going to read the obituary here. Karl Matthew Anderson was born in Seattle, Washington on September 15, 1960. William and Mavis Anderson then moved their family and 3 sons to Pasco, Washington, where Norris and Jenny were born. Eventually, they moved the family again to Grass Lake and settled here. And after high school, Karl attended Michigan Tech and then moved to Oregon to work in the Roseburg Forest Products for more than 2 decades. He enjoyed his job out there. After more than 25 years in Oregon, he moved back to Grass Lake to care for his aging parents. That's a hard thing, but he made that move. When he reconnected during this time with his high school classmate, Teresa, original name Gallus, the two found they shared a love for exploring the outdoors, for gardening, and for baking. Thank God for the baking. I really enjoyed that myself. And they were joined by friends and family when they were married May 26, 2018. Karl will be deeply missed by his wife, Teresa, 3 children, Miranda, Olivia, and Nick, 6 grandchildren, Riley, Lillian, Annabelle, Emily, Kaylee, and Brindley, great-grandchild Russell, siblings Norris, Debbie, Leaf, Jenny, Pat, and many cousins, nieces, nephews, family, and friends. That was the obituary. Now I found in reading this, there was an interesting poem in there, and I thought I'd put that into the program today. This poem was written by Rossiter Worthington Raymond. Life is eternal, and love is immortal. When you get older, you slip up a little bit sometimes.
Wrong program.
It might have been immoral for some, but anyway. And death is only a horizon, and a horizon is nothing save the limit of our sight. Thought that was good. So next here, we'd like to have a time of sharing. I'll start it out. Make yourself comfortable a little bit here. Again, you don't have to be a public speaker. You just need to share something that's happened with Karl. That'd be great to have that happen. My time with Karl wasn't a lot, but what I respected him so much for was his engineering mind. Now, he wasn't an engineer, but you wouldn't know that by how he did things. He could make anything, he could fix anything, and then when it came to cooking, he used that same engineering mind. He was precise, and his products were outstanding. Now, I know Teresa had a little bit to do with that, because she's very good at that too. For me, I was thrilled to death that they like to do that, and they like to share it with everybody. That's a really good thing, I always thought. But he made like breads from Sweden and Finland and places that, I mean, you don't buy those anywhere. And they're so good. You know, I always thought if they could start their own business, which they kind of did. You did some farmers markets and stuff like that. I don't think they came home with anything. I'm pretty sure of that, you know. But it was very good, and so that's a happy thing for me to have known Karl and just the way he did things. I wish I could do things the same way with the patience that he had, because patience is a great thing. I don't have that much patience. I mean, I get rattled pretty fast if things aren't going my way. So, you know, that worked okay in sports sometimes, but not so good when you're doing the plumbing, you know what I mean? So, anybody, raise your hand. Anybody want to say anything? That's what I'm always afraid of.
I'll
Yes,
start,
okay, Steve.
So me and Karl, we went to school together, and he was part of my group that I hung out with quite a bit, because just going through school with Karl, I mean, he was just always smiling, always the same, just real steady, Eddie, but a great sense of humor. We would sit at the cafeteria and see who could make each other laugh the most, just have milk come out our noses or something. You know, just silly stuff like that, but yeah, he was just always the same, you know, just never seen him angry or never seen him upset about anything. Always just really,
Yeah, he stayed
really
even keeled, didn't he?
Yep,
Yeah,
even-keeled guy.
He was really good at that.
Yep,
Sometimes when I look at him, I wasn't sure what he was doing, because he's thinking, he's in that deep thinking thing about what I'm going to do this next, and wow, he was really good. He was really good at everything, and wonderful, wonderful person. I even read in here he was the best dressed in his senior year. So hey, if you'd like to dress too, I appreciate that. That's a good thing. All right, anybody? I know a lot of times we don't get up. Yep, here we go. Hi, Debbie.
Yeah. So the first time I met Karl, I had been dating Norris for, I don't know, a couple years. We lived on the East Coast, he lived on the West Coast, so it kind of was hard for us to get together. He lived outside of Portland, and he brought us into the city and thought it would be fun to go on one of those horse-drawn buggy rides through downtown. And it was the most fun thing, because I love horses. But the horse was hot off the tracks, and this thing ran through the streets, and we had so much fun. We were drinking a little. It was so much fun. I just remember what a great first experience of the brother Karl.
Yeah.
And every time I eat bacon with black pepper on it, I always think of him. It was the first time he cooked that for me, so it's kind of one of those weird things, but I always think.
Yeah, well, things like that are memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
And
happened.
then I have a cabinet that he built in my bedroom.
Ah,
And I have numerous purses, and it's my purse cabinet.
yeah. Well, he could build things, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
and
I mean,
it's
anybody want anything, he could do it. And that's a wonderful trait, but I think it takes patience
Yes.
and thinking things out before you go too far.
Yeah,
I have
very
to make
challenging.
3 trips to the plumbing place every time I do plumbing because I never get it right the first time. One of those things. So, yeah, Karl didn't have to make 3 trips. He had it all thought out beforehand. So anybody else?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay, all right.
Rick Wolford. Took Karl up to sand dunes, me and Dave Lammers one time, and Karl, getting goofy. And Karl goes, bury me in the sand, bury me in the sand. So we dug a big hole. Of course, once he got buried in the sand, he couldn't get out. So our creative mind decided to put some boobs on him and stuff like that. We finally got him out of
I
there.
think that picture's on the table there,
It
Rick,
very well-
somewhere. It
very
is on
well
the
could
table.
be. And then I took him trucking, and he goes, let me drive this thing. I said, oh boy, I don't know about this. But he took to it like glue.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, he went through the gears and handled it, and I think he stayed with me for a couple weeks.
Wow.
I mean, we went all over the country and stuff, and
Wow.
he could have been a truck driver if he wanted to.
Yeah, I think he could have done pretty much anything.
Yeah,
wanted
he
to do.
just
I mean,
it come natural to
he
him.
was just good. He was just good.
But
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Anybody else? Anything? Funny story that happened when you were with him?
I'll mention something.
Oh, yeah, Brian.
I didn't happen to. I happen to live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So during the time that Karl met my cousin Teresa, I've been in Florida most of the time. So my limited interaction with Karl was always very positive. And the one thing that coming into our family of Gallus Donaldsons, sometimes the games can get a little competitive. And Karl took my one thing that I think out of the 8 cousins, aside from Kathy, she and I probably have the most patience of the group. And so, Karl sort of fit into that mold, but he could play the game as cutthroat as he needed to, but just with that demeanor and smile, whatever.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to clarify, Teresa, who's same age as me, we're not classmates of Karl. We were younger. But Steve cleared it up that he was one of his classmates, our older
Now we
cousin,
know.
older brother. So I just wanted to clarify that. And I think Karl would appreciate that.
Thank you, I do.
Absolutely, that makes sense to me. Anybody else? We're rolling now.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that speaking of Karl and his competitiveness and stuff, we used to go over there a lot and play cribbage. And if you ever wanted to get into a cribbage game, him and his dad and I played 3-handed, and that was enough. It was good.
Yeah,
But they loved cribbage.
yeah, they did. I think he liked. Is it called Chase the Ace? No. Screw your neighbor. That's a better. That's what he was. You get 3 quarters. And,
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he liked to play that.
Yeah.
I see you were his favorite partner.
Yeah, well, you know, he was pretty sly on how he did things with that. Wasn't he?
He was.
All right, we're doing good. Anybody else? Yes, Lou.
I said I never heard Karl brag about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I regarded him as a humble person. And we just decided that I should have a little sitting room out in the backyard where I could read maybe, you know, because we had this cement slab. So it started out as a 14-foot place that they were going to fix for me that would have a screen in it so I could see the trees and the sky and all. And then they decided, well, if we're going to do this much, why don't we go this much? Because the reason was to get Jim's junk off the cement slab. So if they only went 14 feet, he still had 20 feet to put junk on. So it ended up that I ended up with a 30-foot long thing. But Karl, the only thing I bought was the, whatever you call the main
Rafters?
that the
Header?
roof goes on.
Okay.
And the roof,
The hitters.
and the rest we
Rafters.
milled on a portable mill over at Todd's out Pine. All of the verticals, which are this big, and all of the boards for me to put the siding on with the shiplap, you know. And so I was just fascinated because he laid those boards out on the floor down through where he wanted them before. But I just enjoyed watching him put up the framework for that so I could finish it off. But got a nice big screen room.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And there was no hollering, there was no arguing about it. He just went
It was
ahead.
easy. It was easy.
It's because you already had the junk off on the floor.
Yeah, I wasn't listening to that. So anyway, I'll never forget him.
Yes, yes, for sure. How about anybody else?
So I could say something that's not any specific story or anything like that.
Okay.
Part of it, I can't hardly remember anything from my youth anymore. You know, if you ask me what did I do with Karl when we were kids or when we were in college, and I don't know, it's lots. We were busy. We were always doing stuff, but I can't think of anything specific. But a couple of the comments I made that showed up in that book, it's trying to get at something. I'm not sure what it is, but we were really, really close for a time, you know, in our teens when we were young. And my folks deliberately, we shared the same bedroom, my folks deliberately split us up because we were too close, you know, to the exclusion of, you know, the rest of the brothers and sisters. So they deliberately did that, and that was, you know, that's what you should do. You don't want to be excluding the rest of the family, and everything went well, but whatever we did all the time, I don't know, but we were together all the time. And I was different when I was with Karl, and he and I were together. I was different. And there again, you asked me in what ways, I don't know, I just know. Because over time, you know, they split us up, so that changed the dynamics a little bit, and then, you know, I turn 18, get drinking age, and then I'm off to college, you know, you kind of get split further. But a couple years later, when he wound up rooming with me, he wanted to actually join me, and we were roommates again in college. And it was just like that. It was just like whatever that was, we were right back together again. And that's always been a special time. And I think we had too much fun, and that's when I got kicked out from the Navy. And so now we're split. So now I've been in the Navy, now we're split by that, and then he's on the West Coast, and I'm on the East Coast, and we're split by that. And, you know, any time you get together, there's always like snatching whatever few days, you know, the demands of work and life and everything allow you. So, never been able, I just wish it wouldn't went like this, you know, I get this close to retirement, you know, that would have left me free to visit my brothers and sisters without always having demands of anything else, you know, I could hang around long enough where they're ready to push me out the door, you know. But, so what it was about Karl, I don't know, it's just, he was such a good brother, such a good friend, and, you know, just was good for me, too.
Yeah,
Made me better, different.
absolutely.
And, you know, now we're divided by all this, too, so,
Yeah.
you know, it's just sad all the way around. But Carl's life, that wasn't sad.
Yes.
He's a happy guy.
Yeah, he was. He was. He seemed content with
So
things.
anyway, time marches on.
Thank you. Thank you, Lee. How about anything? Anybody else? Yeah.
Brad.
Where? Go ahead.
And Brad, we used to play poker at my folks' house.
Come this way a little bit.
On Fridays and Saturdays, and some people that are here came over and played before that I know of. Karl, you always held cards. He never said much. He was hilarious. We would play this game called Bloody Guts. There's 3 cards down, and if you wanted to keep them, if you beat him on the table 3 times, and if you held them up, you were in. If you dropped them, you were out. Well, it would get around, and we'd start tapping, because it was, if you lost, you had to match the pot. So we tapped cards, and Karl would put the tip of his finger, his thumb, underneath the edge of his cards, right on the table, and we'd end up having to make him hit pot. He was hilarious. He'd get mad at us. I had a lot of fun. He was one of the regulars.
Yeah. Good guy. Karl, he would think of something like that, putting his thumb under the card, right? Yeah, yeah, he would think of that. Okay, we're doing good. Anybody else? Yes,
Yes, I want to come over here.
yes, wherever you want. You can come right up here if you want.
I'm a true gal. Neighbors down the road to Gallus's, and I'm just glad in my heart that you and Karl have gotten together. I went to school with Karl. Karl to me was the golden boy because he had his beautiful blonde hair and his bright smile, and he was interested in you. There was nothing pretentious about Karl. At a time when, Rick, we're strutting, we have our pods, our clicks and things. But Karl wasn't, he was himself, unpretentious. And I do have a wonderful hutch that Karl made for me in shop class.
Oh.
And we'd always keep in touch because when I was 19, I went on the road to sing. I still sing, but I had a Chevy pickup truck, 1980, with a hole in the floor, kind of shit. And I said, Karl, I'm going to Miami. I got your hutch in the back. A hutch, a guitar, and a sleeping bag. And that hutch has been with me, like, it's in my kitchen, and I always think about Karl. But Karl, there was a constant. We could pick up. He'd always was interested in where I was at. Where are you singing? What are you doing? And then, I sang at Duffy's not too long ago. Karl would bring his harmonica. And I would say, come on, Karl, and he would just that exuberance and the free spirit of Karl. And so, yeah, he was, no matter where you're at in your life, what chapter you're in, he was interested in what are you doing, Cal? And he'd say, don't give up, Kelly. And he wrote me poems, too. I haven't found those yet. But something about the dancing teacups. Like, hey, Karl, he was pretty, out like the Doors, too. He looked like the Doors. What is this? There's some symbolic meaning. I know, Karl, you're trying to, but I don't know if I can put that in song yet. Dancing teacups,
Yeah.
But, wow. And seeing you all again. And that's what Karl, because of him. We got this together, right?
Right.
Because of him. So.
Thanks, Kelly.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
How about anybody else?
And Brian.
Brian.
Good to see you. Oh my God.
Okay, we're gonna move on then. If nobody wants to say anything else. Okay. Well then, we're gonna do the Lord's Prayer. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I think Teresa felt we should do this today, so we're gonna do it. So I'll start it out. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
All right, a few announcements. No, I'm sorry. Yes, a few announcements. So, on the tables, there's pieces of paper with QR codes on there. So on the back of it, okay, you can scan that and see the brochure. Now, is there some other kind of QR code that you could actually? There's two QR codes, so there's two on the back. One is you can see it. The other is you can add things to it. Okay, so you guys know how to do QR codes. I have no idea. We want to, and Teresa especially wants to thank all of you for coming today. This is special. It means a lot. Your discussions, your stories, and stuff like that were great. And you know, he was a great guy, and an intelligent guy, a loving guy, a fun guy, a special guy. So I'm glad we were able to do this. We thank you for coming. We want you to have safe travels home. And now, this would be Karl's most important time. We get to eat. And we have, let's see, we have Karl's potato salad, cheesy potatoes, Karl's cheesy potatoes. He liked cherry and apple pies. We have those. There's pulled pork that was cooked in the UP. So it has a little something different to it than whatever pork would be cooked down here. So you know, that's kind of, so please don't stop talking to each other and let's eat. Thank you.
Good job, Mike.